Thank you, everybody, for joining. Today is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. And today's presentation is on elder abuse, understanding, identifying, and preventing harm. This session is, we always do a session of this nature around June the 15th, which is World Elder Abuse Day. And this is in conjunction with that day of recognition and awareness that elder abuse does happen. Today's presenter will be our very own Mary Ennis, and she can go ahead and introduce herself and then start the presentation. Before we do that, though, we are going to go over some housekeeping tips, which Sherry is going to say. Forgot my clicker. Okay, here's our housekeeping tips, so I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Sherry.
Good afternoon, everybody. So for housekeeping, today we'll mute your mic to block any outside noise. Closed captioning is located at the bottom of your screen. Put your questions and comments in the chat. And this session will be recorded and placed on our website and our YouTube channel.
Thank you, Sherry. And Barb, you can go ahead and read our land acknowledgement, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Pardon? Closer.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
We respectfully acknowledge that the lands on which we live, work, and meet are situated on the traditional territories of the indigenous groups of Newfoundland and Labrador. And we acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province. We honor the diverse indigenous peoples who have cared for this land for past generations and for the 7 generations to come. We are committed to listening, learning, and working in collaboration with indigenous communities as we move towards reconciliation, respect, and mutual understanding. Let us carry this acknowledgement forward in our work and relationships as we strive to create a future that respects and embraces the wisdom of older adults and the diversity of all communities.
Thank you very much, Barb. And with that, I'm going to just let a reminder about who seniors and are and what we do. Our vision is that older adults are respected, valued, and have the opportunity to be engaged in all aspects of society. Our mission is to support, promote, and enhance the well-being and independence of older adults. And our mandate is to provide information for informed decision-making, to facilitate the development and implementation of programs, and to influence policies that affect older adults. Here at Seniors NL, we have information and referral department, which will provide reliable, up-to-date information on programs, services, resources through our comprehensive database. Our trained peer support volunteers answer every call with compassion and professionalism, helping you navigate available supports and connect you with the information that you need. And of course, community outreach and engagement. We deliver presentations to community groups, organizations, and municipalities across the province on a wide range of topics related to seniors. Through strategic partnerships, we ensure our education and training initiatives remain current, impactful, and tailored to the needs of older adults. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead now and hand the mic over to our lovely Mary Ennis.
I can see you too.
Thank you, Catherine. I hope it's okay with everyone that I sit down.
Oh, yes, yes.
If anybody wants me to stand on my head or anything, just let me know.
No.
You would. Okay. Back in the day, Seniors NL used to be called the Seniors Resource Center of Newfoundland and Labrador. Ever since it was formed back 1982, I think.
1989.
of victory.
Um,
1989. Ever since then, the people, the volunteers and the staff, all the seniors and all, have been on top of what's happening as far as elder abuse is concerned. That was one of the strongest topics, I think, that seniors and all looked at when they started out. Okay. Back in 1992, the Seniors Resource Center for Newfoundland and Labrador held invited people from government and community to come together to talk about elder abuse and to figure out how they could raise awareness of the issues leading up to abuse and the forms of abuse taking place in the province. And the mission, they formed eventually the Newfoundland Labrador Network for Prevention of Elder Abuse, and that falls under Seniors NL. To guide the work of the network, there was a steering committee put in place, and members of the steering committee included the RCMP, the RNC, Public Legal Information Association of Newfoundland and Labrador, the Multicultural Women's Association of Newfoundland and Labrador, Iris Curry Health, one from Sheffield in the province, and there were government representatives as well. Who might even know? Yep, two LGBTQAI population is also represented along with others.
I thought I had.
Yes, thank you. What is elder abuse? Elder abuse is any act or failure to act within a relationship where there is an expectation of trust, but the act jeopardizes the health and well-being of the person. That's what elder abuse is all about. And it refers to any intentional or negligent act that causes harm or risk of harm to an older adult. Elder abuse is not accidental injury or harm. You know, a caregiver, for example, could accidentally trip a senior, which is crossing the room or something like that. That's not elder. It's okay, it's an act. And it's, you know, there's also normal age-related decline or health issues that many seniors face, and then that's not a form of elder abuse either. Then we have different types of elder abuse: physical, emotional, sexual, financial, or material, spiritual, and neglect. And we're going to go into each of them individually. Physical abuse is any act of violence or rough treatment causing injury or physical discomfort. You know, it's physical abuse if someone hits or slaps or pinches or kicks another person, even if there is no physical injury. It is abuse if someone deliberately exposes another person to severe weather, for example, or unnecessary physical restraints. And that's a big issue, you know, because a lot of times, particularly, I'm sorry to say, in some hospitals, with a senior dementia or something, we acting up as a result of the injury. And sometimes staff will put them in restraints, you know, and that is a form of abuse. And it's also abuse in someone because of other some institutions to quiet seniors down, to put them in sometimes, give them over-medicate them so that they will go to sleep and stop disturbing other patients or other seniors on the wards. Emotional abuse is any act that may lessen the sense of identity, dignity, or self-worth of an individual. And it's emotional abuse if someone threatens himself or intimidates another person, an older adult, treats a person like a child, because we find that happens quite often. You know, people tend to treat older people like children.
Yes, my darling. I'm kidding, that's said not loud. Sorry. I'm just okay.
And it is big mistake to think that if there is no physical injury or physical violence, there is no abuse. Because abuse does come in all shapes and forms. Some of the signs of emotional abuse, they might show fear or discomfort around a certain person, you know, and no one knows why. They might tend to self-isolate. Or they put themselves down because they believe that, you know, the been so abused and that this is so often to someone putting them down that they feel themselves that they're not worth anything. They're not worth anything better. Sexual abuse is any kind of sexual activity that a person does not want. And some of the signs of sexual abuse are fear of being near or along a certain person. It could be pain, swelling, or bruising in the genital areas. And something like that, as caregiver would probably pick up when they help the senior to bathe or something. Forcing another person to engage in sexual activity, including verbal or suggestive behavior. Respecting a person's privacy, you know, walking in on the senior when they're taking a bath or getting ready for bed. You know, all those can be forms of sexual abuse. And of course, sexual intercourse without the permission of the person. And these are all forms of sexual abuse. And next we have financial abuse, which is misuse of a senior's money, property, or possessions. And that could be through theft, that could steal, you know, put the house, scam or fraud. And some of the signs of financial abuse, things that money goes missing, might be unusual banking activities, which we hope that banks will catch up, you know, would notice. Signing papers without fully understanding what it is they're signing. I mean, my gosh, you know, all the papers and all that little print that comes with most contracts and insurance papers and everything. I have trouble reading all that. Of course, they print it so small they can't see anyway. And it is financial abuse if someone tricks, threatens, or persuades an older adult out of their money, property, or possession. Sometimes the abuser might even influence or force the person to change their will or to sign a power of attorney, which gives them access to a person's bank account. Or the abuser might cash checks that come for the senior and without the seniors knowing that they're even in the house, much less being cash. And then the other point, which, and this is probably one of the most, the more actions when it comes to financial abuse, is the children or the grandchildren. Because quite often they feel that they're entitled to the money and they're going to get it one day anyway, so why not take it now when I need it? It's something, you know, to go towards my new car. Spiritual abuse, using religious or spiritual beliefs to control or dominate an older adult. And some of the signs of spiritual abuse, of course, the one about seniors stops going to church. And sometimes that could be because they need a ride to church and their child just refuses to take them anymore. They could refuse to participate in prayers. They avoid visits from the minister or the church family. So any of those things, we see them happening with the senior who has always been a devout churchgoer. Then you have to wonder, okay, why aren't they calling? What's going on there? Preventing a senior from engaging in their spiritual or religious practices. acting in a disrespectful way towards the senior's spirituality, depriving the senior of his or her Bible or other religious material. And those are all forms of spiritual abuse of senior. Neglect, failure to meet the needs of an older adult. Now, there's two types of neglect, okay? Active neglect is refusing to provide for the basic needs and or the care of an older adult. Passive neglect is the failure to provide care to a senior because of lack of experience, ability, or information. In other words, that you could be actively guilty of neglect if you're deliberately withholding something from a senior, something that you know the senior needs, and something that you know would be good for the senior, and if it's actively withheld, that is a form of neglect, of active neglect. Passive neglect is neglecting the senior because you don't know how to take the person, because you were never showed the right way, the wrong way to bathe the senior, to help the senior get out of bed, or any of the other needs. If you don't, can't really call that abuse when they're doing it without realizing that we're doing it. But you would know it should be, the person should be educated to change that habit. Then we have our risk factors for victimization. Some people may be open themselves, unknowingly open themselves to being abused if they live in isolation. If there's a history of family violence, which is a learned behavior then, shared living arrangements, a son or a daughter or a nephew or niece showing up unexpectedly, moving in with the senior, and then, the senior is she's spending time with her son, that kind of thing, and there could be abuse going on. And people who suspect or know there's abuse happening can feel isolated, unsure what to do, they're afraid of making a mistake. People may feel alone with their concerns or fears. They may not know what their rights are, so they don't know. Sometimes they don't know if are they abusing me? And it's hard to tell. And often when there's a history of family violence, children used to see or experiencing it may grow up to be abusers themselves. Depression or other mental health illness, cognitive impairment, and addictions, all of those can lead someone vulnerable to abuse. But those things can also lead someone to commit abuse.
One more that could be they're married is, say, a grandchild, when somebody drops into the nan's house, uses up their groceries, or uses up their laundry detergent, stuff like that, and then takes off. And the poor person cannot go to the shop.
Absolutely. Yeah, if one party or the other is addicted to alcohol, drugs, or gambling, there can be risk of abuse. Depending on someone else for shelter or financial assistance can result in an abusive situation. Ageism can play a role in abuse. The word ageism refers to attitudes and beliefs that cause people to treat older adults as if they were less important or less valued just because of their age. How often have you heard someone say, "Oh, she's 85 now"? The people that age are usually cranky. I think I started cranking when I was about 15. Imagine how bad I'm going to be in a few years. But such attitudes can be a factor in abusive situations. When people start thinking those kinds of ageist thoughts, it can very well result in a person feeling feeling alone, feeling that they have no control over their lives anymore, feeling put down themselves. If someone's telling you that you're not worth anything, and they keep repeating that and doing things like you feel, and it has to have an impact. And just who is impacted by elder abuse? People from all walks of life that find themselves in an abusive relationship. The victim may be dependent on the abuser, and seniors who are isolated or have a disability may have an increased risk. One thing I will, this is 20 years ago now, I remember there's a national organization of persons with disabilities who wanted the provincial group, which was me at the time, wanted me to send out a survey to everybody on the land. And the survey was asking them the questions about abuse. They were trying to determine how many people could be abused. And I'm there like, well, okay, so I've got a person with a disability who needs help to get out of bed, but not likely to be able to go to the post office at the time when we had post offices. Go to the post office and get the mail. And so the abuser gets the mail, opens it up, and automatically thinks she's after reporting me to someone, or he's after reporting me to someone. You know, and so we refuse to send them out to the other province because you know. But if you scan that, anybody at any age, there was a night on Chief Media yesterday. I don't know if anyone heard it. Apparently, there's this very bad group called 647 or something. Did you hear that?
764.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and they're focused on children between the ages of 8 and 18, if I'm not mistaken. And apparently they connect with these kids somehow, and they have a big, it's a very influence. And some children could do anything. What child in Newfoundland, this province, who has been
Victimized.
she was giving me signs, so I was feeling like the back is going to end up down my phone. But anyway, yeah, that's the type of thing that does go on today. And I mean, they're little children we're talking about.
Do you also take feedback from here, send it to the organization higher up? Like you're presenting whatever they made up, but like you take.
Yeah, other organizations.
No, from here, audience, and if you think it's not mentioned in there, you pass it along to include it in there.
Yes, we
Yes,
did.
absolutely.
Like an example, the slide before that,
Yeah,
some seniors have trouble getting to their mail. So I know Canada Post is trying to phase out more and more and more,
okay,
but if somebody declares they're a senior, even if they're not disabled, then once a week have their mail delivered to their door.
okay.
But
You gonna know that?
yes, do.
Understand my point?
Yeah, I got it.
Take notes. And who perpetrates elder abuse? Seniors are often abused by someone they trust, someone who has power over them, or who is responsible for their care. Okay? And that may include spouses, adult children, grandchildren, friends, caregivers, paid or unpaid, financial advisors, anyone in a position of power, authority, or trust. And most situations of abuse do involve family members. And research shows that when adult children are the abusers, it's usually it's most often the son who abuses. But that does not mean that daughters don't. Because daughters do, and it's starting to become more prevalent. We hear more now on TV and on the radio. It seems that there's more women committing crimes than ever. You know, that always. And we've all learned from the media over the years that people who are abusive can be charming, well-liked community leaders when in public, but show a certain different persona when they're behind closed doors. And we also know that abuse can happen from time to time, but we do know as well that some people are abused every single day. And who is at fault? All abuse is serious, it causes harm, and abuse is never ever the fault of the person being abused. Okay, that's something to remember. You will change.
I was waiting for you to move your paper.
Oh, sorry. I didn't have to.
Oh, okay.
In that, abuse can make a person feel small, alone, and powerless. Some victims of abuse live in fear every single day. Abuse can put one's physical and mental health at risk and can result in illness, disease, and even death. I mean, I'm sure there's cases, there are lots of cases that we know that, of people who have taken their own lives because they have been so abused by someone else. Barriers to disclosure. Elder abuse often goes unreported because the person being abused may be afraid or ashamed to ask for help, or may not know where to get it. And that's one thing, you know, you find that a lot when it comes to financial abuse. People are really ashamed to admit that they've been taken from them, so to speak. And, you know, a lot of people are like that. They won't report abuse because they feel ashamed of themselves that it happened to them. Often people are being abused, are reluctant to report the abuse or talk to the authorities or to talk about it with anyone, even close and trusted friends or family members. The older adults may be embarrassed that their son or daughter is actually abusing them. They may not want to get their family member in trouble. And if they're dependent on the person who's abusing them, they might be afraid that care will be withheld or that they'll be put in an institution, taken out of their home. And they may think it's their own fault because if they sometimes older adults think that they're a burden of the family. And so they get the idea in their head that, you know, well, I can't blame them for being like that to me because I'm so much trouble or so hard to take care of me. They may not be aware of the basic human rights. They may be taking medicine that confuse or disorient them. And then they're not sure if the abuse is supposed to be done or if there's any way to stop it. They may have low self-esteem and a feeling that they deserve what is happening or are responsible for the abuse. They may, immigrants to Canada often depend on relatives living here because of their isolation from family and friends in their own countries. And sometimes situations like that can make you abuse. With all these barriers to disclosure of abuse by the victim, there is an urgent need for others to be alert and be alert to abuse and know what to do if cases of abuse are suspected. Abuse happens to all people from all walks of life, and there are some suggestions to reduce the risk of abuse. Stay connected, be in regular contact with people who support you and respect your decision. Get involved. Find places in your community that offer activities and events where you can meet people. Reach out to others. Help to make a more caring community. Have fun. Do things that give you enjoyment, strength, and comfort. And stay physically active. keep moving, eat regularly and well, and get support. If you are being abused or know of someone else who is being abused, or you suspect is being abused, talk with someone. You don't have to deal with the problem alone. You can ask for help and guidance. And actually, abuse of the law under the Adult Protection Act, it is your legal obligation to report suspected abuse or neglect. Failure to do so is now an offense under the law, and it can lead to a fine of up to $10,000 and or a year, 1 year in prison. So if you suspect someone's being abused and you don't report it, even if it turns out that you're wrong, you have to report it. Because think about it, if you think someone's being abused and you don't report it, and then down the road, someone finds out that you suspected it all along, then you could be guilty of an offense. And I mean, that's a good thing that, that they put that law in place. It's another layer, that people have to deal with when they think about abuse and trauma. And if anyone wants to learn more about abuse, about elder abuse, Newfoundland Labrador Health Services, and they should be your first point of call to suspect abuse. And there's the adult protection number. And I think my understanding is that you call that number and it will go to the responsible health authority that will investigate the issue. And then you can join the NLNPEA, Newfoundland Labrador Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse, and get all the material as about anything new that comes out. And you can contact the RCMP, the RNC, the Journey Project, and that is a project that the Public Legal Information Association of Newfoundland and Labrador has in place to deal with abuse, mostly physical abuse. Yeah. Seniors NL, call us anytime. People on the phone, and I know some of you have been in and know who the staff are already. But seniors NL call at any time, and they will be able to direct you, put you in the right direction. The Public Legal Information Association and Newfoundland Labrador Referral Service, and that would be 211, and they would give you the right numbers to call, if you forget. What else do we have? Yes, and like I said earlier, join the network, join the Newfoundland Labrador Network for Prevention of Elder Abuse. And that will, you get updates on any learning opportunities, resources, etc. You can just call the front desk or let anyone here know if you want to become a membership is free.
Now, I just want to talk about this session. So Safe Talk, the suicide alertness for everyone, that was scheduled for Monday, June 29th. That meeting is going to be canceled and going to be rescheduled until the sometime in September. So stay tuned for notification on when that session is going to happen. We will have that posted on our website. It will be on our newsletter and our Facebook. So we're actually going to go to, we're going to come back to this one and we're going to go with some questions, if that's okay, before we go ahead with this. So during the registration, there was one question that was asked that I'm going to read out. And then I'm going to hand the mic back to Mary. So one,
ask questions on elder abuse.
absolutely, yeah, the audience and those online can certainly ask questions as well, just I want to read this one question first that was done during registration. So it's, how can we do better in educating seniors about all the pitfalls of scamming and about the subtle and not so subtle physical, verbal, and financial abuse of seniors by strangers, friends, and family members? I'm gonna give you this so you can read.
Thank you. Okay, the first one is probably the easier. It's a two-part question I have here. How can we do better at educating seniors about all the pitfalls of scamming? Recently, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, the City of St. John's got funding to develop a workshop on frauds and scams, strictly frauds and scams, okay? Which is falls under financial abuse, of course. And that is an excellent piece of work. It's a 3-hour workshop, and or it can be done in, an hour and a half presentation or something. But I mean, that is really a good source of information. And we can do that workshop here as well. Someone was interested, maybe something. If we did offer it one time, come on and see. And as far as the subtle and not so subtle physical, verbal, or financial abuse, but going through the information that we just had, like, there were some indicators of each form of abuse that could be happening, kicks and bites and whatever that people that might have, and it doesn't quite fit the situation that they tell about. But mostly it's about being alert. If you see something going on, or you sense something strange in someone's life, maybe something is, and maybe it's not something good. So it's really, really important that we maintain contact with people, that we, we go out there and pay more attention to what's going on in the world, and what's going on in other people's lives. And education is really what it's all about. We keep the more we talk about elder abuse, the more we talk about ageism or financial abuse or fraud and scams, the more people will start to just have a better understanding of what's going on. Thanks. My answer.
Does anybody have any questions in the audience?
Yeah. I think I talk loud enough, Mary. I don't know what you're saying. There's 3 points I was looking at there. Going for help. Yeah, there's places you'll go for help. But the senior, and we're talking really about seniors, elder abuse. You've got to ask for help. You won't get it unless you admit you're being abused and you seek help. That's the only way you're going to get it, right? That's it. And seniors, in my experience of 32 years here answering phone calls on elder abuse and whatever, and giving presentations, seniors are not going to tell on their children. Most of the abuse to seniors is done by children. And who's going to tell on their children? Think about it. If they're shame, would you want your family or your friends to know that your child is abusing you? I don't think so. Are you in a position to lose your grandchildren? This is the threats that you get if you don't give them and do what they want to do. And I'm speaking from experience, not for myself, but from what I've heard. You won't see your grandchildren unless you do what I want you to do. We don't want to hear that.
In the same point, if you're.
Speak up, because my hearing aids are right kid.
No, you can just. So,
That's not
in the same point of what you're saying, if your children, adult children, any one of them are them abusing you, you don't wanna see them go to jail because they might have families that need to be looking after.
Yeah.
So your point is very valid.
And another thing there, and another point now that I have on with calls, if you don't do this, I will commit suicide.
Yeah.
We don't want to hear that. And if you tell on your children, what relationship are you going to have with them? You might lose them for life. Right, Mary?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, you know, as I look back and reflected over the years, we're not going to stop elder abuse until the abuser will admit it and seek help. Right?
Person being abused, not the
Eh?
The person being abused, not the abuser.
Yeah, the person being abused have to report it. And another thing with the APA, the Adult Protection Act, that's a very small help. If you have mental capacity and you're being abused, like say financial abuse is the first one we hear of. So if you're giving money to your children and you have mental capacity, who can stop you? Nobody. So the Adult Protection Act, Mary, you know, you could talk about that. It's only for a small group of people who don't have the capacity to know that they're being abused. Right?
I have.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
I actually have an opinion that I'm gonna just say on this. So me listening to the presentation that was just done, it's giving me, as an outsider, information and knowledge to look in on somebody else who is actually being abused to identify the signs. My role in that is to actually report it and give the person that is being abused support to know that I am there for them. To make them aware that this is happening. Is there anything I can help you with? It's not telling them, you gotta report it, because that person being abused has no power. They have lost their power to stand up for themselves. So us looking in on it would be the power behind them saying, you know what, I'm here to support you in whatever way I can. Is there anything I can do to show that they have worth, that they're loved, that they are cared for? Because that abuser has completely taken that away from them. So our role is to give them the strength to stand forward and for us to stand up for them as well at times if we have to.
That is absolutely true. That's true. But the abuser has to seek help. They have to want help.
The person being abused, not the abuser.
The people, yeah, the one that's being abused.
Yes, not the
Yeah.
abuser.
Oh, no. The one that is being abused has to seek help. Otherwise, sure, it's not gonna happen. And that's why we still have abuse, that's why we still have it, and that's why we'll always have it. And we're talking about seniors. Until the senior that's being abused seeks for help, it's not gonna stop. Am I right?
Thank you.
I wouldn't put it that they had to seek help themselves. But the person being abused had to admit to it.
They
But I think mostly, most of the abuse is going to, reporting of abuse is going to come from a neighbor or someone else who thinks they see abuse going on, or who does see abuse going on, and they report it. And then the senior has to admit it, or the senior can't buy report you're being abused, and you say you're not. Well, then they're
And that's what seniors are doing. Look, I can be here the rest of the afternoon. If somebody reported, I'm being abused.
Oh, Brenda, please.
Okay. So I'm being abused by my daughter, and really, daughters are more abusers than sons. And somebody reports that I'm being abused. Okay, maybe the police will come to my, and this has happened, the police will come to your door. What? My daughter abusing me? Who told you that? Not my daughter does not abuse me. They will deny it, they'll deny it. They're not going to tell their children. Now, you might think I'm mad. I'm not mad.
Yes, yes,
No, you're
yes.
right. I'm not married.
Mary,
I'm just frustrated with it all these years.
Mary, you want to respond? No.
Well, I'm gonna say, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Anyway, I worked with home care, several home cares and in the schools, but in the schools was on younger adults. With home care, with the home care agencies, part-time for umpteen years, I've seen a lot of abuse. No, and a lot of people being abused didn't realize, because a lot were having to delay or dementia, or most of them were. I've got several dementias, slept over with them. One had an alcoholic son, she loved him, he loved her, but she was abused. And her other son was a great guy, who also realized her groceries were going, and the perfume was going, and this and that was going. And he checked it all out, the home care workers, I was part-time overnight. He found out how it was, went on the spot and fired her because she was taking everything, the woman didn't know she was taking things belongs to her, plus groceries. And a lot would go out with them to supermarkets. I used to have a gold card with this harvest woman, Vera on President Avenue. I'd go and use her card with her. She let me do that. But some would get a lot of things for themselves, and the person home didn't know. They didn't look at the receipt. They didn't know she had ice cream and cheeses and chips and ginger ale and beer and cigarettes. You know what I mean? They're being abused all the time, and the person being abused doesn't always know. And yes, if they do, they might not ever say.
Brenda, they will put up with it because it's their family.
They don't even know they're being abused. They're being abused at the home over their house sometimes, being sat in that chair with a.
Guys, I just kind of want to read this in a little bit. This is about knowing the sign. We are not going to solve this problem.
No.
Right, this is a larger problem than anybody here in this room, anybody online, and the entire province for that. But we are trying to make things better, to make people aware that this is happening, to give people the knowledge to identify the signs. Because unless those looking in have the education, that have, we'll call it the spidey sense, to say there might be something going on here, maybe this person needs my support to make them stronger, to stand up. This is what we have to do. We have to start somewhere to make things better for everybody, and to bring the awareness forward is know the signs, know how to support, know how to report. I mean, they're the key things, and they're all valid points.
I agree.
All valid points on what we're saying here, but we got to kind of ream it back a little tiny bit to say, where do we start? Let's know the signs, let's understand, let's give them support, let's report. So that's what today is all about.
I agree with you. We don't talk about elder abuse enough. It's swept under the rug. How often do you hear talked about?
Mary presented a slide in which there were several numbers to call if you.
Yeah.
Client and RNC, RCNP and senior. What I find, and I'm not as sure as you guys are, but sometimes you have to have a 4-digit code password, sometimes 6. Remembering so many different numbers is overwhelming. Why not just tell people to call one number, the police? And seniors NL is not open 24/7. By the time they get the message at like in the morning. But if you call the police, they'll get you in a few minutes, if not right away. And something can be started, but if it shows all these numbers, I think it'd be a lot easier just to say, call your local police, which is open 24/7.
Video took 7 hours.
Well, and one more point, I had 3 points on it. I'm gonna throw something in the lap of Kimberly Leonard's staff and Stacy, which is Catherine and Sherry here. All these updates that happen on senior reviews or fraud and all that, instead of we trying to keep up on it, if we become a member of Seniors ML, an automatic email should come up, look, we have an update on this course or something new development. So you don't have to ask, has it happened? They know that we have a mailing list every 2 weeks. Any updates that have come about this matter, Well, I'm not even sent to you.
Yeah, you could call.
Thanks, Chuck. I just wanted to say that Seniors and L is not a club. You cannot join us. You can join our bi-weekly newsletter, which you will receive all kinds of updates, training events, information on different series or brochures that we're releasing, you know, such as we are working on and will be releasing the fall of the year, if not sooner, our elder abuse series, which will go into a little bit more detail on the signs that Mary talked about today. So these are all different things that are coming. And you will see all of this publicized and updated on our website that's currently under construction by our lovely IT specialist Cass. And in our bi-weekly newsletter that is also sent out. So before I actually hand the mic to anybody else here in this room, I'm going to actually give the mic to Cass because we do have some questions that are online. So I have, I think around 3 questions online. The first one here is from Christina. It comes with a question and a couple of statements following. She said, I guess I did want to ask about verbal and emotional harassment. That is a different topic though, I assume. To be honest, I stood up to my abusive children and told on them. It takes a lot, but I had to speak up. I was being forced down a path of depression and severe anxiety. I had to stand up for me. You lose your relationship, but you can gain your life back. So if nobody has said this to you, Christina, you are an extremely strong woman, and we applaud you for that. We applaud you for standing up. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Mary there now.
Yeah, I thought you had two more questions.
There are, I'll just say them after this one.
You stood up for your abusive children and told on them?
She said, yes, thank you all.
But yeah, so mainly she was kind of, I think from this, making, talking about her life story, but also asking about verbal and emotional harassment, potentially how it ties into elder abuse.
Verbal harassment is certainly elder abuse. Definitely, because you're being verbally harassed. It can lower your own self-image, and it could lead to mental health problems, a lot of issues like that. It is definitely harassment. Abuse.
Thank you. I'll go to the next one that we have here. So we have a question. What would be the best way to handle a situation where I'm shopping and I see and hear a senior being spoken to nastily or derogatorily by the person accompanying them?
That's something that could be reported. You could certainly report back to the Adult Protection Act, subsectors, and someone would have to go in and investigate eventually.
And then the last question I have here is from Josephine. She asks, what role can neighbors and community members play?
Neighbors, community members can really watch the seniors, keep an eye on, seniors in your neighborhood. See if they try to encourage them to get out once in a while, to socialize. Try to
Build a network.
Yeah.
Build a network.
Thank you, Mary, for answering those. I believe as of now, that is all the questions I have in the chat. I will hand the mic over. Thank you, everybody online, for your questions. Anybody else in the audience here have a question?
My apology to you. I thought Seniors NL was something that we could just get updates from, but I have a better understanding now of what your limitations are. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're good online for questions? Yep. Okay, perfect. And again, thank you, everybody online. So as you can see, we're actually a little bit further here now to get back to here. So This is a
I
very,
just wanna say that was a good presentation.
this is a very heavy topic to talk about. And one of the things that elder abuse, as we learned and we talked about today, is that it does cause loneliness and does cause social isolation. So one of the things to help individuals is to get them out and about, enjoying, again, just to cause some, provide some happiness for individuals. So this is where we actually came up with a tribute to Johnny Cash, and a big, huge thank you goes out to Rob Smith, the lead singer for this group, who's will be coming down at the end of June and doing a tribute to Johnny Cash in at Holy Heart School here in St. John's. So he was graciously provided us 2 sets of tickets, double tickets. We did have several entries in, and we are going to draw for that now. Mary, can I get you to come up, please, and select 2 names now? The information that was provided to me, phone numbers and email addresses. If I call and it's the wrong number, or if the email address is incorrect, if I cannot get a hold of you, I'm sorry to say another name will be drawn because I do have some, realize that I do have some issues that are going on with email addresses. So the first name that we have drawn for is Jeffrey Tucker. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. We will be reaching out to you today.
You wanna write your name in?
The second name,
My name in there?
no, our names aren't in there. Yeah. Then our second name is Jocelyn Sweeney. So we'll be reaching out to you again, and thank you so much for our winners. Our winners will be expected to come in here to the office of seniors and now to pick up the tickets, so we can actually get some photo op. When you go down to the concert too on the 29th of June on a Sunday, you'll have an opportunity to meet Rob, the band, and they have some merchandise for you as well. So I'm actually going to just grab my clicker.
We didn't win.
Joe.
No, sorry guys, thank you for coming, I appreciate everybody actually that did put their name in to draw. We did have 53 people that put in their names, so thank you so much for visiting our website and putting in your name. This is the last education session until the end of September. So please stay tuned for a lineup of education sessions coming the fall. We will be ramping them up and providing a lot more education. So if you do have anything that you would like to suggest as a session, please reach out to seniors and out, let us know. More than happy to hear your comments on what you'd like to learn about. And thank you everybody for joining today, and thank you for a lovely audience as well. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Mary. Here. That was a good